So follow along there. We have a bunch of 2 weeks worth of COVID cases, right? The expectation is you would enter them into your L1, and the first one is asking for the mean number of COVID cases. So you can do it by hand, of course, right? If you were to do it by hand, you add everything up, you get 4767 divided by 14, and you get 340.5 cases. And I didn't talk about this before, but in statistics, it's okay to keep it as a decimal because we use it to measure, right? Like you would measure Manitoba, for example, versus Ontario. So it's okay to keep it as a decimal because it's just telling us it's a metric to use to compare, right? Because it could be that another hospital has 340 cases, 340.1, right? So it's okay to leave it like that in statistics, okay? Write down the data points in ascending order. I don't know if you did that, but I actually wanted you to write them down here. And so, I don't know, I feel like you would know if you got this right or not, because the calculator helps you with that, right? 305, 329, 354, 371, 371, that's my mode, 385, 399, 402, 407, and 421. Okay, so I just count 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. So that's something I'll definitely do is count if the values add up, right? And so all you would do is just use your sort, right? Sort in ascending or whatever order you see fit. In this case, it did ask in ascending. So then just copy these numbers down, all right? Determine the median number of cases. So some of you probably to answer most of them, you just went straight to calculate, right? And you just entered those values and you came up with your average. Your median is, where are you median? 362.5, right? 362.5 cases. And so that would get you 1 mark. If you tell me what does it mean, then you get another mark, okay? It means, right, half of the time there are fewer than 362.5 cases, and half of the time there are more than 362.5 cases. You could have said that, yeah, something along those lines, indicating that it represents the halfway point where half of the time it's less, half of the time it's more, right? So if it's temperature, then be half the time it's colder than that, half of the time it's warmer than that. If it's height, right, half of the time people are shorter than this, half the time people are taller than this. So just look at the context and that help you decide how to answer this question, right? Next, determine the mode. Quite frankly, it's right there, right? So the mode is 371 cases. That is a must though, right? That the units do follow. So if you forgot to do that, take off half a mark for this page, right? So 1/2 mark deduction at least. The range of the number of cases, right? So range, the greatest values, you can just look up here, right? And this here, so it's 421 minus 175, and you get 246 cases is the range, right? Ontario's range for the same time period was 1,000 cases. Explain what it tells us about the dispersion, right? How spread out compared to Manitoba, right? So you can say this, a greater range, right, means that data or number of cases is varies greatly, sorry, means that number of cases varies greatly, right? Since Ontario's range is greater, it has fluctuating caseloads. Okay. Something along the lines that you know what range means in general, and you know how it applies to this particular case. Something like that. So 2 marks would, yeah, you'd have to kind of nail it, right, to get the 2 marks. So, and then our line plot, right? So yours will look different than mine, depends on the scale you've used. I kind of just use my ruler and I use the markings. I'm like, let's see if I can do this, right? 100, 200, and so forth, right? 100, 200, 300, 400, it fits, right? So I kind of try to spread it out, and I think this will work for me. And then you either use your calculator or you already wrote down the cases up here, right? So that was kind of designed to just, you just look at it and help you that way. So let me just see here. I didn't quite finish it because I wanted to show you. So 175 is right about there. 268 is 250, 268 is there. And I kind of look what else is down, right? 268, 281, 299, 305. This would be 350. So 329 is right about there. And then 354 is right about there. 371. And another 371. So that I definitely would check for if you have the 2 at 371. And then 385 and 399. So 385, 399, 402, 407. They're close together. 421 is right about there. Okay. So something like that is what I would expect. So there needs to be arrowheads on both, right? Because it's kind of saying it continues on to both sides. It's okay not to start at 0, right? Because you're taking kind of like a snapshot. Number of cases, like label this and put units down. In this case, it's number of cases, right? That number of cases is kind of like my units, and it also is a description at the same time. And then what I ask is to label all of these components, right? So 340, right about there, that's your mean. If you didn't do this, just take off half a mark. 340.5 cases. That's your mean. Your mode is right there. Okay, mode is 371 cases. And median was 362, right? So this is 350. 362 is right about there. Median is 362.5. And technically, you don't need to put units down because you have them on labeled, right? So you don't have to overdo that. So let me see here. It will change, right? 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's still 2, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. Yeah, it's still 11. So we're still out of 11. So just at the top of this page, along with your name and last name, right? You put down a mark out of 11. And I can give this one back to you because, right, there's a couple of explanations that you probably wouldn't mind having.